Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Paper Crafts here. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the UK. Thanks for dropping in today. And today's project is another in my mini-series using the Sweet Talk suite from the new January to June mini catalogue. And it's a large gift bag. I've made it before, but it's a couple of years since I made it, and I really fancied making another one and using something a bit more up to date. And I decided to use the Sweet Talk suite to make it. So without any more chit chat, I'm just going to get on and show you how I made it. It's quick and easy to make and doesn't use a lot of supplies either. So I'm going to set this out of the way and I'm going to bring in my piece of paper and my scoreboard, and if I grab my mini catalogue, you can see the papers here. Absolutely lovely papers, lots of different colours in there, and it's one of my absolute favourites this time round, I have to say. So all you're going to need is a piece of paper which measures 11.5 inches by 11 and 11.5 along the direction of your pattern, if that makes sense. So on the 11.5 side you want your pattern to be up and down the way. And the only other thing you're going to need is a piece of thick basic white cardstock for the label. So the scoring for this, and I know some of this will be out of shot, you're going to, on the 11.5 side, so with your pattern facing the right way up if you like, score at 1/2 inch, at 2, at 6 and at 7.5, and then turning it clockwise so that the top, if you can see that, so that the top of your pattern is here and the bottom is here. You're going to score on that side at 1.5, and that's it. I'll pop the metric measurements in the description bar below the video. Sorry, I keep clattering that against the desk. It's got metal legs, you see. So fold and burnish on all your score lines, just taking time to make sure that you score it actually on the line, which I didn't when I made this bag, so it was a bit wonky, but you can't notice it now that the bag's put together, thankfully. And just make sure that all your edges line up. And I am filming in the evening and it's dark, but there is a storm outside, so apologies for any weather that you might hear in the background. It is really windy, and I'm going to try and score straight on this last score line here. It's not wanting to do it that way, so we're going to have to bend you this way. There we go. This is the one that went wonky the last time, so hopefully it's not wonky this time. And the last one, okay, so if you can see these sections at the bottom, and I'm not sure if you can, there are 4 sections here plus a little rectangle at the end. So you've got a square and a rectangle and a square and a rectangle, and we're going to cut up all of these score lines, but this thin little rectangle at the end we're going to remove, and I'm going to take the score line away as well. So I'm just cutting up to that horizontal score line there, and then I'm going to cut that off at a bit of an angle, and I'm going to take a bit off at the top as well. And then I'm going to cut up these score lines here, but I'm going to keep the straight edge on the rectangles and remove the score line onto the little squares, and I'm going to wedge out at either side of the squares like that. So again, it's hard to see, straight edge on the rectangle, moving the score line onto the square, and a wedge there and a wedge there. and I think I can hear my hubby arriving home after he's taken our daughter somewhere, so I apologise if he comes in the front door and shouts that he's home. So this is what you're left with once you've done all your cutting and wedging. And excuse me for 2 minutes just till I let him know that I'm filming. Sorry about that. It's really bad weather outside, and I didn't want them to come in and explain graphically how awful the weather is and how windy it was when he was driving over the bridge that's not far from here. So where were we? Yes, so I've done all the cutting. And this is what we're left with, and we've got this flap here. So what I want to do is I want to add some tear and tape along this flap here, just beside that fold. There we are. Actually, I'm going to grab my ruler just to trim that there. And then on this side I want to add a piece of tape to each of these flaps, and I'm just going to pop a couple of bits on to make sure they stay in place. Again, near the score line but not on the score line. There we go. So I'm just going to reinforce that fold there, and then hopefully this will just fold over and join on like that. So I'm going to remove the backing on the tape and hopefully bring this side over and join it together like so. If you do have anything that's overlapping a little bit, and I have got a little bit there, just trim it off with your scissors. I think it's because I didn't quite fold that 1/2 inch section as well as I could have, so I'm just going to trim that off like that, and I could probably have trimmed that a little bit better, oops, as well. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I can trim it more later if I need to. And then it should really fold equally the other way too. And I'm just going to remove the backing on the tape on both of these flaps. Maybe. And then I'm going to look and see where my join is, and my join is here. So I'm going to pop in the two side flaps, keeping the join, keeping my eye on the join here, and make sure I line the edges up like that. And then last bit to do is just a couple of bits of tape on what is the front flap, like so. Take the backing off and bring that flap over, and again just line up the edges before pressing that down. There we are. And then making sure I've got the back at the back, I'm just going to squeeze the sides in and squeeze that like that. Now this one, I actually pushed the sides in all the way down, but it does naturally resist, so I'm just going to let this one naturally resist, so you get some natural shoulders on your bag that you can see there. Just going to move that over just a little bit, and I'm going to get my trusty clip here, and using my 1/2 inch punch, and again, as I've said in previous videos, this is a retired punch, but I do still use it because I really like it. And I'm just going to push that down the bag from the top and in as far as it will go, and punch a hole. I'm not going to measure it, I'm just going to eyeball to see whether or not it's in the middle, and I think that's about right there. And keeping my clip on there, I'm going to look and see which ribbon I'm going to use. So am I going to use the Highland Heather Sparkly Grosgrain ribbon, which I really like, or am I going to use my Real Red? I think I'm going to stick with the Highland Heather ribbon, and I'm just going to cut off a good length of that because I want some long tails on this ribbon as well, and making sure that I've got the joins still at the back. Pop my ribbon through and bring it over to the front like so. Tie it in a bow and not tie it too tight because I don't want to tear the bag round the top of that hole because it is just paper. Pulling my loops through, and I really don't want my loops that big. Not the best bow and not the best knot in the middle, but it will do for now. There we are, as long as it's straight. That's my main concern. And then just leaving kind of long tails. Oops, cut. Oops, that one's just about at the right length actually, so I don't need to cut very much off of that. And I can get rid of my clip now. So that's my bag put together and my ribbon on. It's not the best, but I'm not going to fiddle anymore. And then I just need to do a little bit of stamping for my label, which I'm going to cut out with this little label die here, which is from the Sweethearts dies. Lovely dies, lots of love hearts and things, but I just want to have a label. And I've already mounted my stamps that I'm going to use from the Sweet Conversations stamp set, and I'm using this as a bit of a background, and then Happy to Have You in My Life. And I'm going to stamp my background in Highland Heather, and then I'm going to put my sentiment over the top of that using Gorgeous Grape just till I get that darker tone on the top, but keeping it pretty much tone on tone. I was going to stamp off with my Highland Heather, but it's too light and you really couldn't see it because it's already pale. But if you look, I can do it on the edge of here because I'm going to be die cutting that anyway. It was just too pale, you can hardly see that. So I decided to go full strength with my Highland Heather and use Gorgeous Grape for the sentiment over the top, and I'm just trying to centre that best I can in the middle of there like that. There we are. I'm quite happy with that. And then I'm going to centre that over the top, and I just want my sentiment bang in the middle. I'm not doing anything particularly special or fancy with it. I'm going to get a bit of post-it note roll, and I think I'll just pop another bit down the bottom there as well. And I'm going to bring in my little mini Stampin' Emboss machine. Pop the bag out of the way just now. Put in my base plate and my cutting plate. Pop this on the top. Now I actually want to put this at an angle, so I'm going to cut the corners off like that, and I might as well just trim these as well to make sure that it fits in. There we go. Pop it in like that. Pop this on top and start pushing that through. Oh, come on. It's not happy to go. I have offset them, but I probably offset them a little bit too much, so let's try again. Get the rollers to catch. There we go. And I'm just doing it really slowly because I don't want to shake you too much as I do that. So let's get rid of these bits. And get our label. Just be careful you don't tear the label with whatever tape you use. And then I know I keep using these, but I'm again going to use these gorgeous iridescent rhinestones, which are part of the Sweet Talk suite anyway. And I'm going to put one of the biggest sizes here and small one beside it, just like that, and one of the medium size just in that top corner there as well. And then I'm going to get a piece of ribbon, probably about that length. I'm not going to really measure it, and I'm going to pop that through here and just make sure it's even. I'm going to trim it down anyway, so I'm not going to worry too much. And then I'm going to use a piece of the white baker's twine, which comes in the Baker's Twine Essentials pack. This is in the annual catalogue, as is the Highland Heather grosgrain ribbon as well. And I'm just going to cut a little piece off. Tie it in a bit of a knot, and then pop that over the top of my Highland Heather ribbon. I just find it easier to tie a knot or do the loop with the knot before I actually put it over my ribbon, rather than trying to tie it round, because you don't have enough hands sometimes. And then I'm just going to tie that in a bow round the ribbon just beyond the top of my little tag. Poke that through, and there we'll have our bow. Oops. Try again, Karen. Right, let's see if we can manage it this time. Pop it through. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, fingers and thumbs. Right. No nonsense, third time lucky. I'm just all fingers and thumbs today, and I'm going to end up unravelling my twine, which I don't want to do either. So there we are, made it, and I just want to have a small bow on here. There we go, happy with that, and I'm just going to make sure that the tails are pointing downwards, and I'm just going to trim them off a little bit, but I don't want to take too much off them. There we are. And then all I have to do is just trim these. So I'm going to trim that one, I think, there, and this one here, just make one slightly longer than the other. There we are. Offset them just a little bit, but not too much. And on the back, pop a few dimensionals. One at the top and two just there. Bring back my bag and just pop that somewhere around there, and that's my bag made. So hopefully fairly quick and easy, one with shorter tails and one with slightly longer tails. I don't know which you prefer. I quite like longer tails on a taller bag, but you might not, so let me know what you prefer, and let me know if you make one. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Give me a thumbs up if you did like it, and if you enjoyed it, I would love you to leave me a comment as well. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would be really grateful if you would subscribe, and if you click on the little bell, you will see when I next post a video. If you want a catalogue and you don't have one, and you don't already have a demonstrator, then do let me know and I'd be happy to send you one free of charge. Just get in touch and I'll do that more than happily. And that's it for today, so hopefully I'll see you again very soon, hopefully tomorrow, with another project using the Sweet Talk suite. So until then, thanks again for watching and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.